do want to join us now, the Battalion Chief, Anthony Galageza. He's the Public Information Officer for the Bakersfield Fire Department. And you've obviously heard a lot of the varying opinions on this case. And I know that you all were a part of this. What did you all find in this scenario?
Bakersfield Engine Company 15 was en route to this call, and they received information from one of our dispatchers that it was an 87-year-old female and possibly pulseless, non-breathing. They arrived on scene simultaneously with the ambulance company and began measures for CPR. And as usual, the company officer arriving at such a facility will always request all the paperwork, medical paperwork. A main paperwork we're looking for is do not resuscitate order. And the company officer asked for the do not resuscitate order. It was not present, so CPR was continued along with the ambulance company. Advanced life support measures along with basic life support measures were conducted, and they immediately loaded the victim onto the gurney and proceeded to a local hospital.
And that's the right thing to do. And I think as medical professionals, it's easy for us. We do ask the very first question if someone comes into the emergency department and if a DNR order, it has to be there because you want to err on the side of saving someone's life.
Right. Yeah.
But if a DNR, a do not resuscitate order, is in place and it is that person's desire to not have CPR or other excessive interventions performed, if that is presented, that's the one time where you say, okay, this is not what this individual wanted. You know, and CPR it can save people's lives, but here's the sobering reality. People who get in their 80s, who get CPR, if they're frail, you can hear the ribs cracking, and it's hard. It's a traumatic thing for someone performing CPR if you don't know what to expect. Because
and you're hearing ribs crack as you do it. I mean, we've all been there. And I think that's a big reason. You said one of the biggest problems with our health care is the litigious aspect to it, and I couldn't agree with you more. That may be one of the reasons why they have this policy, because they know that starting CPR and somebody older has so many problems potentially associated with it.
Well, and Chief Galageza, I want to thank you so much for sharing those comments with us. Now, the Associated Press and several other news outlets are now reporting that the family of Lorraine Bayless says she would not have wanted any life-saving measures, and they actually issued this statement that I'd like to read to you. Our mother and grandmother was a remarkable and intelligent woman who was blessed to have a great life of 87 years. She was fully aware that Glenwood Gardens did not offer trained medical staff. Even so, she personally selected the senior living community, and our family has come to know the staff and been very pleased with Glenwood Gardens as her home. It was our beloved mother and grandmother's wish to die naturally and without any kind of life-prolonging intervention. And I really respect the Bayless family for taking that stance because, again, we do not do a good job in this country of addressing end-of-life care and end-of-life issues. You know, and we did reach out to the Glenwood Gardens community as well. They issued a statement, and this in part reads, Brookdale Senior Living extends its heartfelt sympathies to the resident's family. This incident resulted from a complete misunderstanding of our practice with regards to emergency medical care for our residents. Glenwood Gardens is conducting a full internal investigation, and the individual is on voluntary leave during the process. In addition, we are conducting a company-wide review of our policies. And the Bakersfield Police Department did investigate the incident to determine there was no crime committed. And I think that the takeaway here is people need to think about what kind of facility do they want to be in.
It's so important to write these things down and communicate about them, think about them, because they become complicated even when things are all thought out, not in just emergency situations. Whether or not you should perform CPR, who wants you, does your family want you to live, do you want you to live, you know, who's really got the directive in this, in these instances. They can become really complicated. The more it's spelled out, the more, you know, wishes can be carried through.
And tonight's an opportunity to have the conversation with your family. If you have loved ones in your life, talk about the idea of who would make medical decisions for you. Do not resuscitate orders. It's so difficult to have those conversations. But if no one knows what your wishes are, then no one can abide by those.